What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Monday afternoon, 1:30. Totally different time slot than I've ever done to you. Life was throwing me curveballs today, 100%. Wife went to the doctor. Doctor seems to take 5 hours to get done with. So showtime kept getting pushed. Dad duties kept extending. Here we are. We're finally here. NBR, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm rather passionate about, and I bring them to you, and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I am hot about. I'll be honest, like I told you off the top, if this show's any good, I'll be shocked. I mean, this was a absolute chaotic environment, a nasty, noisy environment here in the house today. It's almost like I'm playing a road game today in a hostile SEC environment. So we'll see if I, answer the bell and answer the challenge. Excited to be here with you guys today. Like all these hot takes, I always got an opener for you, right? Opening kick, as we call it around here. Like, when is the SEC going to actually start paying up for some officiating? Okay, I was doing some numbers crunching today, and believe it or not, I'm not one of these, blame it on the officials guy. As a football guy, as someone who, I never wanted to boil it down to one missed or made call, right? Those things don't define a football game. A football game in college is 60 minutes long. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's a lot of missed opportunities, there's a lot of opportunities that are captured in the middle of a football game. So with all those ups and downs, I don't like to always blame them upon one official. But I'll tell you what, at this point when it comes to SEC officiating, there's just been too much complaints about it. And from a variety of pretty much everyone. Every single fan base in the Southeastern Conference at some point is extremely, extremely infuriated with the officiating on the field. So, you can't make everyone happy, but you definitely can't be out here making everybody mad. And that seems to be the case right now when it comes to SEC officiating. And it makes sense to me if we're being 100% honest, right? The SEC considers themselves to be a professional ran organization, right? They're the next thing down from the NFL. They do everything in their power to make you believe that is indeed the case. So if that is the case, why is there such a wage and talent gap difference? If it's not that big of a difference between your players, as you so lead it to believe, or your television product, or your dollar value, if it's not a big gap there, why is it such a large gap in terms of talent and funding when it comes to your officiating? I mean, the average NFL official makes $225,000 per year. Per year. The highest paid SEC official, per the research that I found, was $3,000 a game. You call 12 regular season games a year. That's $36,000 a year for officials in your conference, whereas they're making, what is that? My math's not great. A substantial amount more money at the higher level, the one level right above you. So, and I'm not saying just throw money at it, right? But sometimes throwing money into your own product enhances your product. And at this point, like I said, the officiating gap between what it is the NFL's got going on, which again is your inferior product or your superior product, the product that you're thriving to be, right? Shout out Thrive Fantasy, is the product you're thriving to be. So if that's the case, you need to go about spending money in the way in which they do, which is in their own product. You have to get better officiating. The only way to do it is probably to throw money at it. Train them better. Hire better ones. Go pick off the NFL guys if you have to with the kind of money that you have at your fingertips, especially now with what's coming down the pike. When it comes to college football expansion, there's going to be nothing but more money available here very, very soon. So you need to start allocating it to the people in which, protect your product. That's what officials are for, folks. I don't want to call them police officers, but they do protect your product. They are there to govern your product on Saturdays. So let's get the premier ones. Let's not be out here paying a, substitute teacher salary for someone that's very, very important and impacts football games. And maybe, just maybe, you keep trash from being thrown onto one of the home fields of one of your member schools. Now, I'm not sitting here blaming the incident that happened in Knoxville solely on the referees. It's not. It's a heinous act by a bunch of drunk Tennessee fans. We know that. but it kind of got kicked off with two things. Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin, waving to the stands every time he gets an opportunity and smiling every time he's on the jumbo board. That's one, but the other is the officiating. Had the officiating been cleaned up just a little bit, maybe they aren't as angry, and don't start throwing stuff all over the field. But nonetheless, Knoxville or not, Ole Miss, Tennessee or not, there's way too many games and way too many Saturday afternoons where a fan base or multiple fan bases leave their football game going, good God, the officiating was horrible today. I mean, absolutely horrible. And eventually, if enough people are talking about it, it's probably a news story that you should pay attention to, and you should probably fix if you're a company and a business. So the SEC definitely needs to get that figured out. And, what a hot take, right? Fix the officiating. But at this point, guys, I'm right there with y'all. It's just been too long and too bad for too long. So get it fixed, figure it out. And again, I think the most common answer in a lot of aspects of life, and I know people don't want to hear this, but when it comes to hiring better people, it's going to cost more money. If you want to hire better and more qualified people that aren't going to mess up as much and you're not going to have to take care of and hold their hand as much, you're going to have to pay them more. That's not just officiating. That's not just football. That's everywhere in life. If someone's good at something, they probably cost a good bit as well. So, throw some more money at it. That was our opening kick brought to you by Cola Kicks, our keynote sponsor, despite the fact that Thrive's on the bottom corner right there. Cola Kicks been with us from the jump. All the sneakers you see around here, whether it be the 11s or the 13s or the 1s or the Ken Griffey trainers over here, whatever shoes you like, whatever your, steez is, whatever your swag is, Cola Kicks has got it for you. Visit Cola Kicks. That's COLA Kicks.com. Use promo code Brooks on any purchase of $100 or more, and you'll get $10 off. And, of course, the folks over there at Cola Kicks always do a great job of giving you free shipping. I can't explain to you. I know I do it. I try to do it every single time. But when it comes to being a sneakerhead like me and like so many of my friends and so many of you guys in the audience, you guys know you look at a pair of sneakers and you're willing to spend $200. The price tag says $200. You go to check out and they want $240 because they're trying to tax you $40 more on, fees, shipping and handling, things like that. It's not how it operates at Cola Kicks. The price you see is the price you will pay. Visit colakicks.com. Use promo code Brooks. Again, $10 off of any purchase of $100 or more. Got a loaded and jam-packed show for you guys. As always, I got to tell you, hit that thumbs up button over there on YouTube. I know we were a little slow to start today. Sorry for the delay. As I told you, life happens sometimes. You got to read and react, right? It's a quick turnover, right? It's a quick change, momentum swing in the game. You got to bounce back and get in there and answer the call, right? How many more Coach Speaks can we do? But anyways, got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're going to do some midseason observations for this Georgia football team, number one ranked team in the country, as you guys know. We will give you our midseasons award list as well. They're going to have some fun with that, so hope you stick around for that. We're going to do some buy, sell, and hold, as we always do here on NBR. Nothing but rants. And, of course, I got to give you Stone Cold Bezos' Lock of the Week. We are 4-1, folks. I don't know if you know this, but I am on a heater right now. Okay, we give you the big game play of the week. I'm 4 for 5 this season so far. Okay, we are on an absolute heater, and if you want the additional picks, you're not getting them because we're on a heater over there as well. Gambling's been going good for us this year. We'll see if we can stay hot this week as we go into week 8 of college football. Appreciate you guys for being here. Death, I think someone just sent in some super subs. His name is literally just Death. Appreciate you, brother. We got one super sub in there. As always, we appreciate you guys showing some love via the super chat hotline over there on the YouTube comments. All right. What else we got? Oh, we're going to start with why I think Kentucky had the best game plan when it comes to moving the football against Georgia. Now, this might get really, really bogged down heavily into the football talk. Shocker. The film guy wants to talk about strategy and all that stuff, not narrative BS, but football. You want to talk football for a second? Let's talk some football. What do we know? What do we know about this Georgia team? This isn't a rhetorical question. I think we do know some things about this Georgia defense that you can't say definitively about very many units, not only in college football now, but kind of like over time. Okay, over time. Here's the 3 things that I know, and the 3 questions you have to ask when you go into this football game, right? It's impossible to run the ball on early downs on this football team. Impossible. I don't care if they're playing 6 in the box. I don't care if they're playing 7 in the box. I don't care if you're playing 1 tight ends, 2 tight ends, or 3 tight ends. It's impossible to run the football on early downs or just in general against the University of Georgia in 2021. They are allowing, I believe, 62 yards per game on the ground through 7 games of a football season. That's absurd. Okay, so you know you're not going to be able to run the football, at least have sustained success on the ground, right? You can't run the ball. They're too big. They're too physical. They dominate the line of scrimmage, and that is their number one priority. Take one asset of your game, completely remove it from the game plan. You're not going to run the ball against Georgia. That's the rule, right? So we know that. That's one thing we know. We also know they got some damn elite tacklers in the open field. And I mean elite. Guys that don't miss tackles, right? That's how you have number 1 from Kentucky. I'm completely blanking on his name. He's going to play on Sundays for a long time. That dude's been averaging an explosive every other time he touches the football. Every other time this year, the number 1, Hardaway, I think is his last name. Every single time this year, every other time rather, that he's gotten the ball in his hands, he goes for at least 20 yards. That's absurd. Georgia held him for like 10 catches for 45 yards or something crazy like that on Saturday. That's rallying to the football. That's great open field tackling. That's not missing tackles. They don't miss them. So that's the other thing. They stop the run. They're elite tacklers in space, so you're really not going to be able to throw any type of screen game, tunnel screens, any of that quick game stuff. Not going to happen, okay? That's not going to happen. So you're not going to run, and you can't throw the ball quickly. Oh, and by the way, on obvious passing downs, this team's getting rush success, getting quarterback pressures at a higher rate than anybody in college football right now. So what do you do? What do? You're looking at Georgia's defense. You're going to play them, right? You can't run the ball. By the way, throwing quick in the flat and just getting the ball out of our hands, kind of a moot point anyways, because they just rally to the football so well and tackle. Oh, and by the way, if you do try to drive the ball down the field, they got like 7 guys over there that all have at least a sack and a half, 2 sacks, and you're not going to be able to hold the ball longer than a second and a half, 2 seconds. So what in the hell's a game plan? How do you beat them? And I'm getting asked this over and over again this year, and I think I got it, or I didn't get it, but Kentucky definitely did. And I was watching them as the week led up, and I was like, you know what? It might not be a terrible game plan. They might have an opportunity to at least move the ball a couple times against Georgia, and that's exactly what happened. This is the recipe to beat Georgia, and hear me out. This is how hard it is, borderline impossible it is going to be this year. So here's the game plan. You have to be serviceable on first and second down in the run game. I'm not saying rush for 6 yards a carry. No. You need to rush for like 2.5 yards a carry and be adamant about doing it and be happy when it happens. You have to be comfortable going 2-yard rush on first down and 3-yard rush on second down and living in 3rd and 5. That's what you have to do against this Georgia defense this year. Because if you throw on first down and you're facing 2nd and 10, you're going to wind up in 3rd and long pretty daggum quickly. That's the God's honest truth. So, yeah, you can try to keep them off balance every once in a while, but you have got to be serviceable on first and second down if you got any shot, any hope, or any prayer at moving and scoring the football against Georgia this year. Oh, and by the way, they're not going to give up any explosives, which means you're going to have to drive the length of the field, and you can't suffer a false start. You can't get a hold. Oh, and you can't give up a sack or a tackle for loss. You can't have any negative plays. So you got to go 12 yards or 12 plays, 75 yards methodically, live in 3rd and 5, and every time you get into 3rd and 5, 3rd and medium, you have to convert. That's the game plan. Kentucky's the only football team to score twice against Georgia this year. I keep saying Alabama. They're the only team to score twice against Georgia in one single game this year. Do you know why? Because they had 2 of those drives. They had 2 of those drives on Saturday. And in those 2 drives, in those 2 scoring drives, they were 6 for 8 on 3rd down. 5 of those were 3rd and 5 or less. They ran the perfect game plan. They executed it twice. Something no other team in college football has done this year, probably will do this year. Maybe will do this year. We'll see as the season develops. But the problem was they were 3 for 11 on every other 3rd down attempt in the football game. They went 9 for 19. They were 5 for 6 on 3rd and 5 or less. If you can get into that situation, you might be able to survive. You might be able to survive. But you got to do it over and over and over and over again for 4 quarters. So you got to have an elite situational quarterback or an elite offensive coordinator or hopefully both. hopefully both, and an offensive line that can at least hold up on first and second down like Kentucky's could. That's a really, really good Kentucky offensive line, believe it or not. I love watching those jokers on film. They're clean. They really are. They are well coached. They are well trained. They are technically sound. They got pushed around pretty hard by Georgia on Saturday, and I'm here to tell you, everybody will this year. Everybody. So just buckle up and enjoy it. It's a really, really fun defense to watch. One of my favorites, not just because how talented they are. They're immensely talented, but they're kind of starless, and that's really, really fun. It's really, really fun and really, really impressive to get the buy-in. They keep saying that, and Kirby's got me talking about this buy-in word because it's invital. Or it's invaluable, rather. I can't explain to you how important it is that the entire, not just the football team, but the entire program is invested in what it is that you guys are teaching, what it is that you are doing in and out every day in the building. That's important. It's how you get these guys to play as hard as they do for 4 quarters, and how they're pissed off when Kentucky goes on a 22-play drive to end the game. And let me address that one before we go on any further. I know there was a lot of people that were upset about what it is that Mark Stoops did on Saturday night to finish that football game. I'll tell you this. I was pretty ticked off because I had Georgia minus 22.5. Other than that, I loved it. I loved it because I'm here to tell you, and I think this is in one of our buy, sell, and holds, and I'm just going to hit it now. I'm here to tell you that at some point this season, Kentucky's going to be up 3 points, up 4 points, whatever it is. They're going to be up 1 score with the ball, getting the ball back with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And their coach is going to look at them and say, hey, guys, we need to go on a 18-play drive. We need to milk up 9 minutes of this clock, and we need to push it in for a score. Make it 2 scores, give them the ball back with 2 minutes left. Statistically, it's impossible for them to win. This is our opportunity to go close the game. We need to go do it. Oh, and hey, by the way, guys, we did this. We've already done it this year against the nation's #1 defense. We went 22 plays, 75 yards, 11 minutes against the #1 defense in the country and scored a touchdown. You guys can do this. Now go win this football game. That's why you play that moment. That's why you go as hard as Mark Stoops and that football team did. Because at some point, it's all about. We've taught you so much about situational football on this channel. It's something we preach here. Situational football. If you can win situational football, you will likely win a lot of football games. He just had an opportunity to practice one of the most important situations in the game of football. Late minute, 4-minute offense, milk the clock, go score, answer, put the nail in the coffin, right? Offense. That's a major situation in football. He just had an opportunity to train that live against the #1 team in the country. You have to take that opportunity, which I want him to do. Sit on the football, run the clock out. Yeah, it would have been nice. Trust me. It would have been nice to cover that 22.5 points. He was doing his job. He was absolutely doing his job. So there we go. All right, Stone Cold Bees Austin's Lock of the Week. Let's hit this. This one is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy, my #1 go-to for daily fantasy props. It's a little bit different than any other fantasy team or any other fantasy gambling outlet you've probably ever used. This is a combination of daily fantasy, right? Pick a lineup, set your lineup, just plug it in, ready to go, enter to win, right? Same concept, but the added bonus, is prop bets, okay? You pick players based off their props, not based off their dollar value. Does that make sense? You pick 10 of those players, 10 of those matchups, over-unders, either team in one specific game. You ride it out, okay? You can play singular matchups, right, on Monday Night Football tonight, or you can do the same thing on Thursday Night Football. You can combine your lineups for the Monday Night Football game and whatever basketball game you're going tonight, double the bonus. You can enter double to win, okay? So there's a bunch of stuff over there. It's the modern age of daily fantasy bets combined with prop bets over there on Thrive Fantasy. That's thrivefantasy.com. Use promo code Brooks, and you will get a donation match up to 100%, up to $100. You put $50 in there, they give you a free 50. You're dead even, okay? So literally cost you nothing. It costs you something, but they give it right back to you. So head over there, check out the folks at Thrive Fantasy. Tell them your boy Brooks sent you by using promo code Brooks. But the Stone Cold Lock of the Week this week is, and again, we are 4-1 on the season. We've ridden the lane train to a hot start here on Lock of the Week. We're going a little bit north this week, okay? We're going to take them points for them Wildcats. And yes, I'm talking Northwestern. We got Northwestern at Michigan. Michigan favored by 21.5 points. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Pat Fitzgerald getting almost 22 points on the road against a Michigan team coached by a hardball guy that I think's about as up and down as a roller coaster can get. Give me them Northwestern Fighting Wildcats, okay? I like that 21.5 points. It's my lock of the week. Look, this Michigan team has not played good against inferior Power 5 opponents, right? The good teams, they played it good against. Don't get me wrong. But these kind of sleepers, right? I'm talking about the Nebraskas, the Rutgers of the world. They beat Nebraska by 3 points a couple weeks ago. They beat a Rutgers team a couple weeks ago by 7 points. I ain't here for laying 21.5 points with no Wolverines, okay? Give me them points. Give me the fighting Pat Fitzgeralds. Let's ride out that 21.5 points, and let's make some money. You feel me? Lock of the week. It's been hot. Stay hot with me. You might want to jump on the train now. One of these days, this heater, it's going to go cold. So hop on now while it's hot. All right. I've been promising you mid-season awards. We've got a lot of show left, guys. We got mid-season awards. We've got the mid-season narrative so far. We got a self-scout on some buy, sell, and hold. We got buy, sell, and hold as a whole, okay? We've got a bunch of show left, so I'm glad that you guys are here with us today. As always, hit that thumbs up button. I do want to take the time and the moment to encourage any new listeners, anybody that is here today. If you like the product, if you like the way it is that we go about our business here, not only on the YouTube channel, but just in general, whether it be Dogs Daily or my Twitter feed in general, you're going to love the Patreon audience. And the Patreon family and the subscription that comes with it. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. The link is in the bio. I promise you right now, if you sign up, matter of fact, we might just give away a couple more free subscriptions. We haven't done it in a while. If you just sign up, give it 3 or 4 days. You won't leave. I promise. You'll never be going anywhere else. You'll be stuck right there. So appreciate you guys for being here. As always, let's get into some midseason awards, all right? Let's talk about the observations first of all, right? Give just a brief overview, my general thoughts as we reach the bye week for the University of Georgia here after, a pretty commanding victory over the Kentucky Wildcats. Obviously got Florida coming up. But we got to start with the defense, right? The brief observations of the first half of the season have to start with this defense. They're allowing 4 first downs per game. 4. That's it. I think it's 4.2 actually, but we're going to call it 4 because that's what it is. Until it gets rounded up to 5, we're calling it 4. 4 first downs per game. Absolutely astonishing. Astonishing. They're allowing 6.6 points per game. I went back all the way as far as Football Reference could take me a couple of years ago because I knew how special that 2019 defense was. And I'm just checking points per game, right? And I'm going through eras of college football where we're talking about running the ball 55 times a game, milking the clock, not scoring a whole bunch of points, right? We're not talking about new age college football of spread and getting after it, scoring 50 points a game. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 70s, 80s, 90s. The lowest points per game total in the history of Georgia, as far as Football Reference will take it back in modern college football, was 1981, the year after the national title game or national championship. They gave up 10.6 points per game. That was in 1981. In 1981, okay, when they were running power I, wing T, all that nonsense, throwing the ball 12 times a game if you were down 20 points, okay? That's the era in which Georgia set defensive records. We're through 7 games of the year, and they've given up 6.5 points per game. It's ridiculous, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it needs to be talked about more. We're not talking about it enough, okay? You need to pound this and beat it into a drum. And I'll be honest, I knew the defense was going to be good. Never thought they were going to be this good. This is insane good. This is better than any modern defense you've seen. This is better than 2011 Alabama Crimson Tide. Right now, it's better, okay? So enjoy it, pay attention to it. That is our brief overview of the defense, just absolutely historically dominant. Now, offensively, we'll talk a little bit more about this as we actually get into the awards and start handing those out. But I think all things considered, Todd Monken's done an incredible job. An incredible job. If I told you coming into the season, right, I set you down. I said, listen here, Harry. No George Pickens. Kearis Jackson's going to have like maybe 5 catches by the 7th game of the year. He's not really going to play the first 3 games on offense. Still no Dominic Blaylock. I hadn't seen him. Arian Smith's going to miss 4 games. Darnell Washington's going to miss the first 3 games. You know, JT Daniels is going to go out. Stetson Bennett's going to play and start 4 of your 7 games. And your starting right guard is going to tear something up in his foot the first game of the season. Marcus Rosemi-Jacksaint's going to be banged up. Jermaine Burton's going to be banged up. Oh, and you're going to be 7-0. You look at me and go, oh, man, we must have really leaned on the defense. And I'd say, yeah, you did. But then I'd say, oh, by the way, you scored 38.6 points per game. You averaged 430 total yards of offense per game. 38.6 points per game. By the way, a 6-point increase from a year ago to this date. A 6-point increase from a year ago to this date, and all of that I just read to you was happening. All that hoopla, all that distraction, all that next man up stuff, all that. You're going to be averaging 38 points a game, almost 40 points a game, and you're going to be putting up 430 yards total offense. That's a magic trick, folks. That's a monkin' magic trick right there. That's incredible. And they've done it through a litany of ways. I think they've thrown 230 yards per game and rushing in 190 per game. That's pretty daggum balanced. And they've been really, really efficient yet explosive when they need to be. That's good offensing. That's good offensive coordinating. I promise you that right now. Really, really impressive. Let's talk about these awards right quick before we get into our buy, sell, and hold. We'll have some fun with this. We'll be pretty quick with it. Offensive Player of the Year, I think there's no question about it, right? There is one player offensively that has been the talk of town, the biggest standout, and it ain't Ladd McConkey. It is 100% Brock Bowers. What this young man is doing, we wrote about it today on Dogs Daily. He's going to shatter every record there is in the record book for tight ends. It's not even going to be close. I swear. I think the most yardage is like 560 by Orson Charles. The most touchdowns is 6 by Leonard Pope in 2007 or 2005, I want to say. Brock Bowers got 6 touchdowns already, 7 total if you include the end around that he took for a touchdown against Vanderbilt. And he's got like 430 yards receiving. He's going to shatter every record there is. He's definitely been your offensive player of the year so far. He's been a light to an offense that needed an explosive spark for sure. Defensive player of the year, I think there's no question about it. It's Jordan Davis. We'll tease that a little bit more here in a little bit. I got something really, really special coming for you guys tomorrow on a public platform about Jordan Davis. I'm really excited to bring you that. Breakout star, and this is, a little bit ironic but meaningful. It's Latavius Burnett for me. I think the guy that's had the biggest step onto the scene and really cement himself as a bona fide, maybe can play on Sunday's SEC starter, it's Latavius Burnett. No doubt about it. We knew he was pretty good coming out against Cincinnati. That his first career start. I think he had 3 TFLs, all on screen passes, led the team in tackles that day. I think he had 7, maybe 7.5. He's played well every opportunity he's gotten, and he's only getting better. He's playing with more and more confidence. He's playing faster. He's playing more physical. He's really coming into his own as a college football player. That's really fun to see 7 games through a first year as a starter, as a senior. He's definitely more than earned it and deserves everything that he's got coming to him already this season. So breakout star for sure for me, Latavius Burnett. Now, most improved. Okay, I broke this into 2 categories, offense and defense, because I want to shine some light on both these individuals. We'll start with the offense first, as we normally do. To me, it is Zamir White as most improved. And I know what you're going to say, well, Brooks, he was on pace to rush for 1,000 yards last year in the regular season. I understand that. I think that offensive line opened up a little bit more holes than they are even this year, last year. Zamir White's doing special things every Sunday, guys. He is making people miss. He's finding holes that would not normally be there in years past with him. His one-cut ability has gotten exceptionally better, and he's always had the ability to run through arm tackles and carry piles. He's still doing that, okay? And he's even getting involved a little bit more in the passing game. Pass protections have been elite. The guy has made himself a lot of money this year just by coming back, and that's something I don't think running backs ever think they would say about coming back for a 4th year. Most of them leave after 3 for a reason, because the NFL definitely sits there and counts hits and counts touches and counts carries 100%. But he's making the carries count. He 100% is on that end too. So he's increasing value, in my opinion, through the way in which he's ran the football this year. He looks better than he ever has, in my opinion, both on film and just watching it live. He just seems to be back to where, we always thought he was going to be. He's definitely obviously better than he was in high school, but the expectations of him coming out of high school were that he was going to be a Heisman Trophy caliber, type of running back. He's not quite there, but he's definitely special and NFL worthy, and I think he's made himself some money. So another guy that I think's made a tremendous amount of cash this year, it's number 7, formerly number 25, Kway Walker. Now, if you've watched all of my content, like some of the Patreon audience has, I've not always been like here patting Kway Walker on the back. It's not, first of all, it's not the way I do hardly any of my film work. I don't do the, hey, good effort, son. That's not what we do. We're there to be critical. We're there to get better. We're there to learn, right? But Kway Walker was a guy I was always hard on because I thought he was extremely, extremely athletic, supremely talented, but was always just making one step wrong, one read wrong. And they were more than likely in very pivotal situations, things that you can't quite have, right? The things that Nakobe Dean doesn't do, but does really, really exceptionally well, okay? And that's what makes him great, right? Well, now Kway Walker at 6'4", 240 pounds, and I don't know if you've noticed this. Maybe it's the tape job he's doing with his ankles, but he looks a lot thinner to me. He looks longer. He looks leaner. And he looks a lot more athletic and agile as well this year. So I think he did some body maintenance in the offseason as well. But the reads have gotten so much better. And that's what's been impressive to me. That's what's been most improved. I know everybody wants to talk about Channing Tyndall. I know Channing Tyndall's had a great start to the season. I'm here to tell you, if you turned on the tape over the last couple of years, Channing Tyndall being fast and rallying to the football is not something that should surprise you. It's not. Anytime that dude's ever on the field, the last 3 years at Georgia, he's been a lightning bolt, an absolute lightning bolt. So he's been doing what he's doing. He's just getting more of an opportunity to do it. I've been impressed with the development of Kway Walker. For me, he's the most improved on the defensive side of the football. Now, let's have some fun. We got least surprising show out and least surprising flop, right? The least surprising, show out, it's pretty self-explanatory. Who did we know was going to break out and been out here balling on Saturdays? Number 88, Jalen Carter. Everybody and their mama. Look, my former boss used to call that wife scouting, right? You ought to be able, when you're recruiting at a place like Georgia, if you're covering a school like Georgia, most of the time, your wife should be able to walk up to a high school football field and say, yeah, that one right there, number 88, he's probably the one going to play for Georgia, right? Yeah, he is. You could wife scout Jalen Carter in college. He was that good as a freshman. You could just watch it from the sideline and be like, wow, 88 special. Can't wait to see what he looks like as a sophomore. So it wasn't surprising to see Jalen Carter out here just dismantling offensive lines, grown men in the SEC as a sophomore. He was doing it as a freshman. He's getting even more playing time now. He's playing faster. His hand fight skills have gotten better. His athleticism's even getting better. He's getting better as a football player. There's no doubt about that. It was the most least surprising thing to turn the tape on this year and see 88 being even more special than he was a year ago. It was not shocking at all. If you've been paying attention, you knew it was happening. Least surprising show out, Jalen Carter, no doubt about it. Now, the least surprising flop, and I don't want this to sound critical, but I want to set the tone for the way in which this player specifically should be approached, okay? Arian Smith is a professional, has a guaranteed route to professionalism in one sport right now, and it is track, okay? I want everybody to hear that. It's track. So, A, you can't get mad at him when he runs track in the offseason. He should run track in the offseason. He is an Olympic caliber sprinter, 100%. Again, he has better odds to be a professional and a lifelong or a sustained professional in track than he does football as it currently sits. I want to say that first. Secondly, it's not surprising to me to see him be banged up midway through a football season because he spent all spring running track, not playing football. Look, here's the deal. If you play football long enough, you understand how important it is for your body to be what we call calloused, okay? Your body has to get hit and constantly hit and build up them calluses, right? Build up that that toughness, if you will. It's not necessarily a pain tolerance thing. It's more of your body being able to withstand what it means to be a football player. That's every position, every single position. Tom Brady spends most of his offseason learning how to get hit, training his body how to get hit. Okay? Guess who wasn't training their body the entire offseason to get hit? Arian Smith. So when he gets hit and something happens and his body doesn't feel right, it's probably not going to be normal for a while. He's not a football player right now, and that's okay. He's a track runner. So I'm telling you that. I'm not being critical. I'm just telling you that to make sure that you understand as a fan base that it needs to come with certain expectations and certain realities about the situation. Don't be mad either way, okay? Because if you come into it with the right aspect and right mental, approach about what it is when a track player is playing football, you'll understand that oftentimes they're going to be banged up because their body wasn't calloused all offseason. Those are the facts, okay? So that was the least surprising, if you want to call it flop, to me, is Arian Smith. There's been no development because he hadn't been developed. He'd been running a track, and that's okay. Again, he's far more of likely to be a 10, 12-year pro running track as it currently situates than he is to be playing football. That's okay. That's more than anybody on this call can say right now, or anybody on this YouTube channel could probably say. Okay, he's got an avenue to lifelong success as a professional in possibly two routes, and one of them is more favorable than the other. Most of the time, all the routes are unfavorable for most of us, okay? So he's doing all right for himself. Don't be hating on him too much. All right, let's finish out today with a little buy, sell, and hold, seeing numbers, matriculate up slowly. Sorry for the time change today. Again, it's probably the last time I'm going to apologize. Life happens. It is what it is. Let's get on to our buy, sell, and hold. This isn't invented by me or the Film Guy fam or anything like that when it comes to buy, sell, and hold. But you guys' affinity for this is rather comical to me because buy, sell, and hold, or overrated, underrated, or properly rated, radio segments like this, they're as old as time. But sometimes the classics are the classics for a reason, right? A little PBJ is still good old-fashioned PBJ as long as you're eating it crunchy. Am I right? Am I right? That's what I'm saying. All right, let's get into some buy, sell, and hold. We'll do some self-scouting off the top as we normally do. Spencer Rattler, Ed Orgeron. We sold the stock so long ago that new viewers are probably like, what is he talking about? Yeah, like 4 weeks ago, I said both these guys are going to be canned at some point. One is a head coach and one is a starting quarterback. And here we are 4 weeks later. They both happened. And here's the deal. We've told you that we were right so many times on this one. It's now off the scouting report, right? At this point, that's an offense that I was running and scoring 60 points with per game 4 years ago, and now I got a new offense that you got to study when it comes to these new takes, like this one. I freaking told you. I hope for the love of God, whoever watches this, y'all weren't out here buying Iowa stock. I hope, because by God, if what I told you didn't come to fruition and to a T. I told you, I said every 5 years, every 6 years, the national media does this crap with me where they try to shove the Hawkeyes down my throat. And I'm just like, guys, come on. It's Iowa. Can we chill out with Iowa? Like, they're going to lose. Like, something's going to happen. They're going to lose some unexplainable game, or they're going to win some inexplicable game, and then they'll go get blown out by a team that they're completely not worth playing, right? Well, they lose to Purdue this past weekend, and now we don't have to listen to it. We don't have to do any of it. We don't have to listen to it the rest of the year, okay? Iowa, gone. Thank you. Appreciate it. I ain't got to. Look, Iowa, I'm sure, nice, lovely state. Sure, the people are nice out there. Cyclones, Hawkeyes, they got the whole thing going on. Sure, it's a great place. I don't care for it in terms of college football. I don't need it in my life. You can just stay up there in the Big Ten. Like the rest of the Big Ten can for the next 2 weeks. We don't have to talk about the Big Ten until October 30th. There ain't a daggum important thing going on up there until Penn State and Ohio State play and Michigan State play. We ain't got to listen to them. We ain't got to hear about them on College Game Day. We can just act as if the conference does not exist for the next 2 weeks. Everybody good? I'm good with it. Whew, I bet people are sitting here wondering, like, do you think Big Ten people even make my podcast, like make my stuff? I don't think they ever find their way in here unless Georgia's playing them and we're doing some type of film breakdown. Sure, that's not even possible. But if they are here, they're probably not happy. But hey, is what it is. Maybe we got some Quinn Ewers hanger-ons from when I was ripping on him for selling out for some kombucha ads. By the way, how's that one going? Yeah, he ain't playing. He ain't gonna play for some time. Okay, told y'all. Anybody that thought he was just gonna walk in as a true freshman and start 5 days into camp, little bit on the ignorant side there. All right, let's talk about some of these buy, sell, and holds. I'm buying Jordan Davis for Heisman, and I'm going to show you exactly why tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Told you I was going to tease this later. I'm giving you an hour straight of Jordan and only Jordan. We're going to do as much Jordan Davis film breakdown as you can humanly possibly absorb. And I'm going to show you not only why he's so great, but why what he does wrecks what you do, and why he does impacts the people around him. Okay? It is going to be some great stuff. If for no other reason than we get to watch a 6'6", 340-pound man run around like he's, a joyous kid playing a game, because that's exactly what he is. Super excited for that one, so feel free to join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It's not really a buy for me. It's just something that I'm teasing for you. But I am buying the fact that I think he could be at least in the Heisman conversation. I'll show you tomorrow why it is that he has an argument for winning said Heisman conversation. All right. I'm also buying. I know the SEC Shorts guys came out with their thing today about the hope thing, right, with Georgia. So let me sprinkle some hope on you here, and you'll probably regurgitate this, especially considering the content material. I'm buying the fact that this Georgia football team can win a national championship with Stetson Bennett as starting quarterback. I'm going to let y'all simmer for a second, and then I'm going to say it again. I'm buying the fact that I think this Georgia football team can win a national championship with Stetson Bennett as a starting quarterback. I am. I think they can. Again, look, through his 4 starts, they've remained efficient and explosive on the offensive side of the football. Their defense is historic, like we told you. All they've got to do is control the football, not turn it over, and continue to be, serviceable offensively. And if they have explosions, then you're really, really good. You're really, really good. Look, whether it's Stetson or whoever it is, I've seen enough, okay? I've seen enough in this Georgia roster everywhere else. I've seen enough from the offensive line to let me know that they're serviceable. They're good. They're going to be okay. By the end of the year, as long as they stay healthy, they might have a chance to be really good, really get settled in, and really start moving some people around. I've seen that you've got plenty of weapons, not just weapons that can get open, but weapons that can run after the catch. I've seen that you've got running backs, guys, that are some of the most special backs you've ever had. And I know you've had some great ones. I get it. But when we're talking about top to bottom, 1 through 4, these dudes are super, super special. And they're doing things on tape that you probably as a common fan don't realize. They're making a lot of -2s turn into +5s better than any group of backs in the country. So I know enough from the offense minus the quarterback. And I know that this defense could probably take Vanderbilt's offense to an 8-2 record. That's no joke. Okay? So, yeah. You have a path. People keep asking me, do you think they can win a title with Stetson Bennett? Yeah. I'm buying the stock that they possibly could. Do you want that to happen? I don't know. I don't think you care. If you win a national title, who gives a damn, right? Who gives a rat's bahootie? Who gives a ratatouille? Nobody, okay? If you win a title, you win a title. And I think as it currently situates, you 100% could win a national title with Stetson Bennett. Does JT make it easier? I think so. My personal opinion, I think so. But hey, you got plenty to win with this dude. That's for sure. 100% plenty to win with this dude. I'm also buying Oklahoma State's chances to beat Oklahoma at some point. But hopefully, it's at the end of the year. I think they play November 27th. I'm cautiously buying it. I'm just buying the stock low right now. They're 6-0. They're probably going to lose another football game before they're not. I doubt they're undefeated going into Bedlam. But here's what I'm telling you. Oklahoma State can do 2 things that don't serve Oklahoma very well. A, they can run the football, and B, they can play defense. Historically, if you can do those 2 things, you're going to beat Lincoln Riley, or at least have a shot to beat Lincoln Riley, especially with a freshman quarterback who he won't see a defense. Nobody, not a single one. Oklahoma State's the only team in the Big 12 that even plays reasonable defense. And I'm talking about like allowing 20 points per game. That's reasonable. Hell, that's historic out there when it comes to the Big 12 if you're not named West Virginia. So, yeah, I'm buying Oklahoma State's chances to, really create some mayhem when it comes to the College Football Playoff Committee, because if Oklahoma goes down after all them close wins earlier in the year, just nail-biting victories against teams like Texas that turn around and lose the next week to Oklahoma State big time. I think they lost by 11. If that's what we're out here doing in the Big 12, then one-loss Oklahoma probably doesn't get into the College Football Playoff, and I'm here for that in terms of just the anarchy. Right, I want to hear some complaining, some whining, some moaning, and ain't nothing better than at the end of the year having about 8 Power 5 football teams with one loss. There's an opportunity for it to happen. Alabama might have one loss. Maybe Ole Miss survives the rest of their schedule with one loss. Iowa, maybe they get out of their schedule with one loss. Ohio State, Oregon, there's a bunch of them, right? There's a whole lot of football teams right now in college football that have one loss, and if you add Oklahoma to that mix, it's going to get real ugly. It's basically going to be Georgia and Cincinnati saying, all right, who they going to throw in here with us? So, yeah, super excited about that moving forward. I am buying Oklahoma State's chances in that football game. Let's talk about some sells. Look, I ain't got a whole bunch of – I don't think I've ever had stock in the Pac-12. Just not me. I mean, late night after dark, kind of fun. They'd play some Friday night stuff back when I was in college. Most of the road games that we were on, we'd be watching it in the hotel the night before our games, things like that. Never really held much weight or importance when it comes to my college football experience, my college football viewing point. Don't really care. But this year, you really don't have to care about them. You don't. You can just block it out as if it doesn't exist. It might as well be FBS football over there. FCS football over there for a little while. I mean, you got one-loss team, I believe, left, and that's Oregon, and they beat a 1-5 Cal team by 7 points on Saturday. You had the only other ranked team in the conference is Arizona State. They got beat by a bad Utah team who, if you ain't seen Utah play this year, they ain't the Utah of old. Let's just put it that way. Pac-12, just get out of here, selling all of it. As I told you earlier, I'm selling any of you guys that are watching this today. If you were out on Twitter bagging Mark Stoops for going and trying to score and be better at situational football with his football team, that ain't for you. Okay, football probably not your sport. Now, you can be mad about Mark Stoops taking Kentucky plus 22.5 and making sure his butt covered. You can be mad about that because I'm mad about that. 100%. Cost me a 17 parlay. Big boy, I'm talking about, was finna get paid. We was going to eat some steak on the way home. Nah, didn't get to because Mark Stoops out here messing around. But I get what he was doing. 100% get what he was doing. He was trying to have an opportunity to prove to himself later on in the year and his football team that we've done this. We've gotten the ball back with 9 minutes left. We had to go drive, take this one-score game to a 2, and milk it out. We've proved we can do it against the number 1 team in America, the Georgia Bulldogs, and a historic defense. We did it against them. Guys, we can go do it right now. It's the whole point of being able to do that. Appreciate you guys for being here today. We do have some holds left, and we'll close with that today. Don't know if I'm going to do Q&A because we're already pushed up. I had way too much content today. Sorry. Was right on a lot of things this past weekend. Would like to tell you to like the video while you're here. Also, I'm seeing some questions about the podcast network. If you missed any portion of today's show, as soon as I'm done, I'll be downloading the MP3 file, and we'll upload it to our Film Guy Network podcast. Again, you can search anywhere you find your podcast. Just search The Film Guy Network. Spell like you normally would. The Film Guy Network. And it should pop up with the logo. This one right here. This little logo over here on a black screen. And you'll be hearing all the NBRs over there. And in the offseason, we do a bunch of additional content when it comes to the podcast platform. So feel free to subscribe, rate, and review over there. Appreciate you guys for all of your support. Now, let's talk about these holds, what we're holding. Now, look, man, a couple weeks ago, I told you guys, I said, can we hold off on the Mel Tucker love? Now, look, I understand that it's warranted. He's done some really good things in 2 coaching stops. But he's made those 2 coaching stops in a matter of like 30 months. Okay? 30 months. He's been at 2 different jobs. And guess what? His name's getting drug up right now in this LSU coaching search. So he might be over there. 3rd school in 3 years. Hold off. And look, this is definitely him climbing upwards, right? He is good at his business, right? This is not a Mel Tucker thing. This is a business thing. This is a business of college football type of thing. There is no loyalty. Don't care who you are. And I guarantee you right now, if you ask players that played for Mel Tucker at Colorado, they loved him. They loved playing for him. If you ask players right now in Michigan State about how they feel about playing for Mel Tucker, they love him. They love playing for him. But that don't mean he won't turn around and leave that program in a matter of months because LSU wants to make him the 3rd highest paid coach in the SEC. I'm just saying, don't be surprised, okay? Which is why if they're all mercenaries, right? They're all just hired guns, hired weapons. So if that's what it's going to be, let's just be honest about it. But we got to hold the stock on Michigan State because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't. We don't know how that roster looks in 2 years. We don't even know if the coach is going to be there in a matter of 6 or 7 months. So you got to hold the stock, and you got to continue to hold the stock as much as you want to praise and heap praise on Mel Tucker. I think he's done a great job. Also doesn't mean he's not going to turn around and leave you in like 2 months. 2 months. Out. See you. That's how these guys work. That's how they'll always work. So just stay woke on your coaches unless you got one of these programs that is successful. That's why you should. That's why I'm always like, I laugh when people are like, it's not people. It's not smart people. It's, I'm sure you got friends like this at home. And we'll end on this. I'm sure you got friends at home that are like, oh, I mean, if Kirby doesn't win it this year, I think we're going to have to get rid of him. I mean, if he can't get over the Bama hurdle, I think we're going to have to get rid of him. Stop that. Stop that. I don't think that. I think Kirby's smart. As long as he's around at Georgia and wants to be around at Georgia, he going to be around. He going to be around, okay? Because he don't do all this. He don't need to rebuild his roster. He's got really, really successful traits in his program right now. And you let that dude win a national title, and it's over with. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's the University of Georgia. They lose kids every single year to Alabama in recruiting battles because they got no ring. And that's the only reason they lose them, because you got no ring right now, Georgia. You got to show me. If they go out and show it, they recruiting really well now. It'll be almost an unstoppable machine the day if and when they do win a national title. Appreciate you guys for being here. Trey Beck, you're asking about George Pickens. I'll tell you guys whatever it is that I know over on Patreon. There hadn't been a major update as of late. I'll tell you that, though. Appreciate you guys for being here. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe to the Patreon service because that's where Trey Beck's going to get his answer about George Pickens and the rest of you guys. Seriously, appreciate you for being here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Check out all of our writings over at Dogs Daily. Follow me on Twitter